to tell you guys that this is a great tree. It's obviously just a stunning representation of a Melaleuca. And I'm so proud of Marcella because I know that she puts a lot of time and effort into her trees. And I think it's pretty cool. Her name is going to be on the plaque that sits at the National Arboretum. Amazing. But I think there's multiple things to discuss with this tree in terms of where it's at, where do you go from here, but also where did it come from to get to this point? Because the journey of this, and I don't know, is there an Australian bonsai publication? No? Nothing like that? Do any of the clubs in Australia have a web presence where there is discussion of tree evolutions or documenting the journey of trees? There's a blog, there's something, right? I mean, I would be curious, Marcella, if you would be willing to share the evolution of this with the photographs that you have, because for me, that really sort of cemented the value of this tree's journey. And when this started, this piece off to the right side was just like a little pencil-sized twig. I mean, it was minute at best, and now it's such a prominent portion of the tree. But I think inside of that, the thing that really drives this home is the presentation with the selection of the container, right? If we took this piece out of this container and we set it into a very formal shaped pot, would it have the same impact? Without a doubt, it would lose so much of that. And going into the vendor area and seeing the Australian ceramicist, speaking with Tracy, and recognizing how much, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, you probably have a hint of it, but the ceramics being created in Australia right now couldn't be created anywhere else. And that's not to say there's not a ceramicist somewhere else that couldn't create the same shape. No, that's not what I'm saying. Of course they can create the same shape. The ceramics being created in Australia right now couldn't be made anywhere else because nobody outside of Australia would have the same influences that are guiding the creation of that ceramic body. They wouldn't have the clays, they wouldn't have the colors, they wouldn't have the lifestyle, they wouldn't have the influences, they wouldn't have the limitations, which are one of the biggest parts of the creation of beautiful ceramics, are the simple inability to duplicate what everybody else is doing and using what you have locally to the best of your ability. There's a rusticness to Australian ceramics, there's a color palette that exists, there's a texture and a grog to the clay that I've never seen or experienced or touched before. This is magic. And when you put an Australian tree into that same contextual element that holds and supports that and actually equals, in the purest term of bonsai, bone, tray, sai, tree, 50% of it, that is a massive statement and a massive completion of the full cycle of that aesthetic to deliver that concept to the viewer and really round out the holistic approach to that art form. So seeing this in this piece, showing the merits of a Melaleuca to the best of its capacity, a mature design, a very clear execution of a beautiful three-piece composition was so strong and so striking that I don't want to critique what's happening here. This is magic, we're clear on that. What's happening here is what allowed it to be seen in all of the levels that it was appreciated at last night. And that is something to really take away. I didn't talk about containers on any other piece because I really wanted to focus on that combination as being a magical elevation of the material to that next level. And I think that you guys are on the cusp of a group of ceramicists working incredibly hard and a bunch of people that don't know they're going to make bonsai ceramics, but as your passion expands, they're going to realize that's exactly what they're going to be doing. And when that starts to accumulate and that momentum and that population and that passion and that approach begins to build, it's going to start to uncover so many unexplored things you guys have yet to touch on. Okay? Any questions about the Melaleuca? I have no clue how to cultivate them. I have no idea. I wouldn't change this tree for the world. I think it's a tree that could sit anywhere in the world in an exhibition. But I think that marriage of the two is a very big, strong component of that. Okay? Thank you guys for the critique this morning. It's been